This is one of my favorite furniture flips of all time. This is an old Bassett dresser and it was missing a leg and had some wonky drawers. So I bought it at Goodwill and I brought it home to give it a brand new life. The first thing we did is remove these broken little bun feet. I unscrewed them and then we had to use a screwdriver and use it as a chisel to crack them apart and pry them off. Once all the feet were off, we flipped it on its back and nailed in some little pin nails to attach the backing on more properly. Then we flipped it upside down and saw some cracking, so we used some clamps and heavy-duty glue to secure it back in place. And while that dried, I went to Home Depot and got some new legs and brackets, and I flipped it upside down and I attached those to the bottom. I had to create a little makeshift splint just to get this little corner piece to attach to something sturdy. Once it was all screwed in, I then screwed in the new legs and they were looking really good. It was super heavy, so I had to go recruit my whole family to help me move this thing and get it back on its feet so I can finish this flipping process. And yes, my dog thought that would be a great spot to stand while I filmed. So I moved on to the cleaning. I used White Lightning Cleaner. This is my favorite degreaser, and I gave the entire piece a really, really good clean down. Then I got some Bondo and I used this to patch up some scratches and marks on the side of this dresser. Then for the top of this unit, we sanded it down raw to the natural pine top, and I used 120 grit sandpaper to do this. It did take a while through the thick lacquer, but it was worth it in the end. Then I took some clear sealer, this is a primer, and I primed it so those pine little knots wouldn't bleed through. For the color, I mixed two paint colors together, one called Dried Sage and one called Sandbar, so I called this new color Sandy Sage. Painting this piece was so therapeutic. I love raw wood and this light beigey sage color. I think it looks great. I then took that same paint and I diluted it with some water and I wiped it across the top to create a paint wash. And when it dried, I took some clear wax and I buffed it in and sealed the entire piece with this. As for the body of this piece, I used some easy peasy spray wax and you just spray it on and buff it in and it gives you a really beautiful finish. Then for the drawers, I used my drill and I took some tape and evenly spaced out the width for these new handles that I bought that were gonna look really cool. For the top, we put these jute poles and then some brass handles on the bottom, and this is the final look. It looks so great, and we actually ended up selling it to a friend of mine for her nursery. What do you guys think? I love this.